Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome back to another studio vlog. I feel like it's been quite a while since I've had any sort of a semblance of normal in terms of like a schedule or studio vlog content, so I'm very excited to hopefully get back into more of the swing of things this week. I'm not entirely sure what my plans are for the week, other than I know I have quite a few orders to package because I just had a store launch, which thank you all again for all of your continuous love and interest and support for my art supplies. So getting all of those packaged up and sent off to their new homes is definitely going to be the first priority, which when I'm filming this, there are, I believe, a couple of Galaxy palettes left, and there's definitely quite a variety of the like normal poured compact palettes. So if you've been somebody that's been waiting for a compact palette restock, because I know it's unfortunately been a couple of months at least since I've had like any in my store, then I will have all of the links for those below if you want to check out and see what's available right now. There is another bit of like a store topic that I want to discuss and get into, but I feel like that's just going to be too long for an intro, and I really do need to start packaging those orders up so that I can ship them out today. So I guess we will get into that later on in the vlog, but for now let's actually get into packaging some of these orders up. Quite a bit going on the desk at the moment, but this is just out so I can start packaging orders. Of course, we've got pencils that I'm going to put together. I always end up keeping the, well, I call these crowns, but the tops of the pencils separate, and then I just put them on the colors that are ordered, at least for now. That's what works, and then I don't have to worry about making sure that, you know, there's one in a color that's done, because I know I can make one immediately. We have the very first colored fine liner organizer here in the lavender shade. This looks super awesome. Really happy with how this turned out. Might need to make a couple of different blue ones for around my studio now. And in the palette department we have the Galaxy lids, the normal lids that are kind of overflowing, but again, this is all of them and I'm gonna like lose half of them today. And then we have the first of the bottoms of the compact palette, so this is again how I'm doing it at the moment, where I just put all of the pieces into the bottom and then I grab the lid that's ordered, and then I know all of the pieces are inside and it's all good to go. So yeah, I'm gonna start packing all of this stuff up. From dropping off at packages, and I also took a little trip to Michael's because there was something I was going to order for a project that I want to really look at starting soon, and I realized that the closest Michael's to me actually sold this, and there was also a reasonable coupon, so I decided to take a little side trip there, and of course a few other things popped into the basket, as they do. And it's also art supplies, so I figured might as well show you. So the whole reason I took a trip to Michael's was for this paint set. These are the Winsor & Newton Artisan Water Mixable Oil Paints. It is a 20 set. Honestly, I would have gone for possibly a smaller set, but this was, I believe, the only size that mine had, and again, coupon, so it was actually quite a reasonable price. And yes, I'm actually going to get my act together and try to oil paint for once in my life. There's actually a very specific project that I want to oil paint, which I guess is a good thing because it's going to motivate me to actually do it. But I feel like I'm on almost a year backlog of ideas because that's, I think, how long I've wanted to do this, and it's been put off until now. And because I now have the time, I was looking into more of the specifics about oil painting and stuff, and I just kind of decided that the water mixable oil colors, like, there was no benefit for me to really figure out all the logistics and fight with normal oil paint. Like, water mixable oils are normal oil paint, they've just changed them molecularly to be able to be used with water, but basically the same thing. So I figured, to save myself and a whole other headache, let's just do some water mixable oils, at least for now. If I like it and I want to branch out into the normal oil paints, I definitely can do that. But for, you know, my safety and chaos level, the water mixable oils are probably the best option for me. I also actually have a few, like, not like quite a few, I have a few tubes of this already because it's what I use occasionally to weather props, so I actually already have some of this paint, and so I figured just made sense to go this route. I might look at swatching this later. Do people swatch oil paint? They must. I don't know if people really do oil paint swatches, but it'll make good vlog content. I also picked up a few of the singular tubes. I picked up another titanium white just because, you know, I feel like I'm gonna go through a lot of white and I already have a giant 200 milliliter, I believe. These ones are 37 milliliter, so I have the giant tubes of a few colors because of the prop weathering reason. So I already had a giant black, and they didn't have a giant white, or else I probably would have bought the, like, giant tube of white, just, you know, for mixing purposes and everything. But this tube of white should definitely get me through the project that I want to start with. And the Artisan Winsor Newton paints are really easy to get in Canada, so if I need to buy some more, it's really easy to order. Always can go back to Michael's, so that's not an issue, which is nice because there's definitely a few types of paint that it's kind of iffy to try and figure out where actually sells it, and then of course you have if it's in stock or not. But overall, the Artisan water mixable oils seem to be pretty common here. So I got a titanium white. I also picked up a bigger Indian red, I believe, because this isn't in this set. I believe the titanium white was the only one that I picked up because I figured I would need more of it. So Indian red wasn't in the 20 set, and I know that I always used to use this for mixing up in like lighter skinned portraits. I feel like almost all of the color names in the Artisan paint line are very similar to the Cotman paint line, which is what I used for years. Honestly, I still would use it a lot. I just tend to gravitate towards my like custom palette because it has all of the like light fast colors and everything, but I used the Cotman palette for years, and so I'm very familiar with the colors that I would always use, and Indian red was definitely one of those that I would use as like a mixing color a lot, and same with Prussian blue, so picked up one of those as well. And I know I have quite a few neutrals. I think I have all of the browns that they make in that line, and I believe Payne's Gray, and just more neutral colors for prop painting, so I will drag those out if they're not in that set for when I go to swatch everything, to make sure I have like a comprehensive swatch sheet for all of the paint colors that I have in that line that I know that I can grab to use for any paintings that I want to do in the future. I also picked up a small bottle of linseed oil, which I hope is enough. I do mostly plan on using the paints pretty straight, and they are of course water mixable, but this is specifically, I do listen, I am very like base level, barely understand the different mediums that you use with oil paint. Like, oil paint is not my thing, nor do I feel like it would ever be like 100% my thing, so it's very base level information, so I can't tell you with any certainty if linseed oil comes in like a normal version. This sounds so stupid. The point that I'm getting at is that this particular linseed oil is developed more specifically to be used with the water mixable oils, even though they are water mixable. Hopefully that makes sense. So I don't think I'm going to use a ton of this, if at all, but it's kind of one of those things that I wouldn't mind having around just so that I know that I have it, so if I feel like I want or need to use it, it's already here. Because I feel like that'd probably be a problem mid-painting and I realize I need some linseed oil. So anyone that is also like me and does not understand what things are used for, essentially you would use this to mix in with the paint to thin it out, you know, what does this say? Yeah, reduces consistency and slows drying. So basically you would possibly look at using this instead of water. I did order some, I believe it's a solvent-free gel, because I heard someone talk about it and say it was really good, but I like could not find anywhere that really sold it here, so I had to like order it from more abroad, so that may or may not arrive by the time I actually need it. We will see. So that's also why I decided to pick this up. I obviously do like being prepared, but I also feel like it's something extra when you know you're going to have to film it, which is my plan. I wanted to film my experience oil painting for the first time, and you really want to be prepared then, because if you're not, one, it's like going to go extra bad because then you're having to like put off filming and, you know, you're probably on a tight time limit as it is, but also the internet will roast you. So I'm making sure all of my bases are covered. I also picked up this paintbrush pack, which I know it says is for acrylic, which I don't know if I really want to use these for the oil paints. I do know, I don't even remember where I was reading, I've been watching a lot of oil painting videos, but I do know that I do not necessarily want to use the super coarse, like hog hair bristle brushes for these, so I just wanted to make sure that I had some brush options available, and I do like using these for like prop painting and other acrylic painting and stuff, so I did not mind having another set of these around because I do sort of destroy them after, you know, a decent amount of use. I wouldn't say quite quickly, but prop painting and stuff isn't necessarily the most like a safe painting process, and you do probably go a little tougher on the brushes, so picked up another pack of these for usage somewhere in my painting life, whether they get used for this oil paint project or not. And the last thing I'm super excited about, because I actually specifically looked up to see if Michaels sold these, and they did, but it said that my local Michaels was out of stock of them, but then they had them, so I'm very happy. And it is just some, this is so boring, but I'm like thrilled. It is just some extra or additional replacement wet palette sheets. If you watch my last video, you will know that this is like my new favorite thing. I use my wet palette, even though I've had it for like 10 years, for the first time when I went to paint the Galaxy palettes, and it's just so great. And like I could turn into like a acrylic painter just because of how amazing the experience was with using it, but I didn't have very many extra sheets, and now I do. This is a 30 pack, and I have an 8.5 by 7 inch wet palette. They do, I believe, come bigger now, which I'm not sure if they actually did when I first bought mine, but that's super cool. And so yeah, now I have the replacement sheets that I can really go to town with the acrylic painting if I want to. Although I did mention, and I definitely want to try the wet palette out with acrylic wash, because I think that could be a very interesting and useful experience, because the entire concept of the wet palette is to keep your paints wet and workable for a longer period of time, and that is definitely one of my biggest, you know, that's the problem that I have with acrylic paint, and so acrylic wash also has that issue, and so having it not dry out as fast would be amazing, and it would make me use it probably a lot more. So very excited to try that out, and now I have a lot of sheets to play around with. Yeah, that's everything that I picked up from Michaels. I do want to get into the swatch sheet for those oil paints, although I am going to need to problem solve what I'm going to use. You know, normally I just print on a piece of watercolor paper because I hate my own handwriting. That's not going to happen with canvas. We'll figure that out, and you'll see what I decide on probably in the next clip. But I know I said at the beginning that I wanted to talk about another store topic, which I might insert this little clip here over my whole paint swatching session, just so, you know, things are condensed and you don't have to just listen to me ramble on for 500 years with no other content to keep you entertained. But anyway, within the last couple of weeks, I decided to finally actually open an Etsy store, which I know might seem like a strange idea, but this is something that I had considered doing for definitely a few months, if not almost a year. Again, I've got a 1-year turnaround with ideas, but I guess I just wanted to talk about my thoughts behind that, because I would be like the first person to understand and agree with Etsy being like the devil. And I feel like for me, it looks like almost a step back, or it just looks like a strange step. Mostly I wanted to talk about this because I feel like it might be interesting for other artists. I don't know if any of you are like into online store stuff or whatever. But yes, I had looked at wanting to open an Etsy store, which yes is a step back, because right now my website is like a fully functioning store. It's going great, and I definitely, first off, let's just get this out of the way, do not plan on changing that at any point. Like my main website store, that if you've bought anything from me, like palette-wise, artwork-wise, any of that, my store is not changing. The reason that I wanted to look at opening additionally an Etsy store, despite, you know, being fully aware of all of the fees and other fun stuff that, you know, Etsy seems to be known for in the not great department, but I wanted to have the option to have only certain products. So right now I only put up the pencil organizers, the fine liner, and the brush storage, I believe. Basically the things that I can mass produce, so none of the one-of-a-kind palette products or anything. I didn't put any palettes up there yet because I'm not really sure about the DIY kits. Like I definitely could, and it could be something that I look at adding in the future if I like this situation that I've put myself into. But the main reason for this is I wanted to have the option of having the more mass-produced products on a website that has a good SEO. I have no idea what like the SEO on my personal website is, because I feel like most, if not all, of my sales come from me promoting them and you guys watching my videos. And you know, when I talk about a store launch or I'm working on palettes in a video, obviously that is funneling the sale of those products. So in terms of people like looking up art supply storage or any of that, just Googling it or whatever, probably not even close to being coming up in any sort of a search results. And so Etsy, on the other hand, is exactly that. You know, you've got people looking on there all of the time for different kinds of products, art supply storage, any of that fun stuff. I'm sure art supply storage is not like on the top of the hit list in terms of like marketable, profitable products on Etsy, but it definitely has that user base of people that are looking on there for more unique, handmade, you know, not super mass-produced items. And so for me, even though Etsy, you know, has all of these additional fees and things that they're taking off, I was willing to look at putting up with that for the possibility of additional buyers of products. And you know, the amount of people that are on Etsy all of the time looking for those kinds of items, which actually right now I'm pretty sure I'm going to try and figure out how to do a sale on Etsy, because I do want to sort of boost my store startup launch, especially because I really don't plan on super heavily promoting it from me. Like, I don't want it to get confusing, because I would much rather you order from my own store. Yes, because of the fees, but also because I had to like counteract the fees. So technically things I'm pretty sure are a bit more expensive on my Etsy right now. I can't remember exactly what I did. It got a little confusing because on my own website, I price everything in US dollars, which is great. It works for me. I know it works for a lot of you because at least half of my customer base tends to be US based, and so it just made the most sense. It was going to be the least confusing, but Etsy automatically listed my products in Canadian dollars, which is great, except I had to refigure out the prices for everything. And so I do think I upped the prices a little on Etsy to sort of counteract their fee takeaway and processing and stuff, because on my website there are literally no fees. I don't know if anyone cares about like this somewhat boring behind the scenes stuff, but I have a commerce like Squarespace account. That's what my site runs off of, and so it means it wipes definitely PayPal, and I believe also Stripe, which is like just the credit card processor. It completely takes away any processing fee, I believe. It definitely does it on PayPal. I believe it also does it on Stripe. So that is like a crazy savings if you are someone that is looking at starting a website to be like a store or marketplace. And so in that regard, it is like 3 steps back on Etsy, because you have Etsy's fee and also the like PayPal and credit card transaction fee sort of situation. So not super ideal, but again, it's the balance of I'm gaining possibly a larger market for these products that I can sort of make infinitely, to a degree, obviously. Like, I need the filament, I need to be able to handle the orders that I'm getting possibly, but I mean, ultimately if I do not like this, I can just close the store, not a big deal. So for an experiment, I was willing to try it. So sort of to like jumpstart my store, I am going to try and figure out how to have a sale on my Etsy store, whether that's a coupon code or just if I can put the products all on like a certain discount. So if you're interested in picking up like a pencil organizer, fine liner, or brush storage from there and you want it at a discount, the discount I will definitely make sure puts the products at a cheaper price than they are on my store normally. So if you're interested in picking up any of those at a discount, the Etsy will be below, and I would greatly appreciate that to, you know, try and get things going there. And of course the whole review thing, which is something that doesn't factor into my own website. I don't even know if I can enable that. That would kind of be cool. Right now my comment section is like working like my review section. But yeah, outside of this video, I'm not really sure how much I'm going to be talking about the Etsy store unless it becomes like super crazy or whatever and it just becomes maybe part of the content. Like I know a lot of people have Etsy store studio vlogs and content and things like that, which I honestly do not think I'm going to get to that point because I just don't want to, you know, I want it to be a manageable thing and not have all of the store stuff taking over all of my time and then I'm never going to be able to paint or do any other artwork again. That's not my goal here. Really, it was just to have a few more like in-between sales from other random people that do not necessarily watch my videos. Just another spot that people could possibly look at buying my various art supplies from. And so that is the reasoning. If any of you have experience running an Etsy shop, I would definitely be interested in knowing any tips, experience stories, any of that in the comments. And of course, if any of you have questions or something that I've just completely forgot to explain to full capacity, please leave those in the comments as well. It can be quite incredible how much my brain just decides to start malfunctioning the second a camera is pointed at my face. But yeah, I think that's all of the store ramble that I have for this vlog. So on to whatever the next task is. And the next task, amongst other things, was apparently to not properly end studio vlog at all. No, but I did decide I really wanted to play around pretty much with the consistency of the paint. Like I thought I was just gonna like mix them up on a palette and see how it react and just, you know, feel the texture of the oil paint since I really haven't used it in a normal way. But then I ended up doing this little quick eye study. So nothing too dramatic. Again, it was mostly just to really play around with the paint and see what it felt like. I'm definitely going to need to work on my thin to thick principle because, you know, oil painting is like almost the opposite of watercolor painting, so I'm just gonna need to get used to it. But overall, I was happy enough with this study that I'm willing to post it online. And this is really the last exciting thing that I did this week and where I'm gonna end this studio vlog. So thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next video.